Hmm. Fatima, let me understand from you now what happens. The vice president has been handed over the reins, but now what's the process like? How does Iran now choose a successor to President Raisi?
Well, from today, about a month and a half, we have to have another presidential election. The vice president cannot come out as um, as a candidate, but there is too many people who are willing to act who are willing to come out as a candidate, and we will have another presidential election, as I've said, in 50 days. And after that, we will have another president for the next four years. So things are not that much a
Okay.
chaos right now in Tehran. The deputy of foreign minister is now replacing him for the next 15 days, and we are expecting a new election, an upcoming election.
Fatima, it's interesting that you say there are many who would want to be the successor, and one of the sort of most likely successors that has been speculated has been the Supreme Leader's son, Mojtaba Khamenei. Apart from him, who do you think could actually stand up to the Supreme Leader's son in this bid to succeed President Raisi?
Actually, I don't see things as you are framing. We are not speaking about who is going to be next supreme leader in Iran. We are right now just speaking about who is going to be the next president. These things, these myths who are claiming that Raisi or Mojtaba Khamenei are those who were likely to replace the supreme leader are not based on real. These are just some crimes, and I cannot comment on that. Actually, I can comment about what is going on about for the next presidential election, and who are going to be the next candidate for the presidential election. But about replacing the supreme leader, I actually cannot comment on that.
Okay. Chirayu Thakkar, there's also, of course, a lot now and depends on how this really unfolds in the Middle East, how this challenge is taken up, how much of it would actually impact the groups that have been backed by Iran, and how much of that then would impact the wars that have been going on?
Um, Shreya, just building upon the previous question that you actually asked Fatima, I think there might be limitations in her case in spelling out certain details, but the fact is that it's the Guardian
Yes.
Council, if I'm not mistaken, that approves the candidate who can stand. So it's not like an open election process that anybody can file nomination. They have to secure prior approval. And even during Raisi's election, what we have seen that hundreds of candidates who wanted to file election, they were actually shunted out from the process, and 6 or 7 candidates were there, and I think eventually Raisi was elected unopposed. Now there was a period in not very long ago before Raisi, where Iran used to play good cop and bad cop. So on one hand, you had moderates who were trying to steer foreign policy; they were trying to negotiate the JCPOA, and on the other hand, you had elements like Qasim Soleimani, who used to lead the IRGC, and they used to be the bad cops who were guiding and monitoring Hezbollahs and Hamas and other proxies across the Middle East. But what happened with Raisi's ascension was two major events happened in Iranian politics. First, moderates actually lost any platform that they had. So now with Raisi's rise, what we saw was hardliners taking a full control. And the signal that Iran was giving to the world is there would be no good cop, bad cop situation anymore. It would be clearly bad cops. We would have a certain strong foreign policy, and everybody has to follow that. And remember, there was this infamous Javed Jarif tape where he said, I'm just the executioner of the foreign policy. I do not make foreign policy. So, foreign policy was actually, and
Hmm.
it, even prior to that, of course, there was some give and take, but foreign policy was always dictated by the supreme leader. But now, what we were seeing that hardliners had full control over that. And second, Raisi's ascension was seen as a signal that he would now at some point replace the supreme leader. That was actually the consensus for, especially between analysts who were watching Middle East quite closely and who understand Iran inside out. And on both those fronts, I think only on the one front there is a question, that is who would be the likely successor. But so far as the hardline policy is concerned, I think much is
Hmm.
not going to change. I have watched developments over the past 24 years, and the general consensus among experts is that this is not going to change the course of foreign policy in the Middle East or in the wider region so far as Iran's role is concerned.